Okay, so Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and welcome to Beijing on December 24th, 2021 at 6:37 in the morning. I like to get up early. So today, of course, I'm going to cook some Swedish Christmas food. It's not going to be the full experience, but I'm going to go to Ikea, see what you can find, better than nothing, and then just share some tips and thoughts on how you can stay in shape. So on that topic, I'm going to go to the restroom and check my weight. Okay, so I have 74.4, 13.8% body fat, and 45.1% muscle. So that's my first tip. Always weigh yourself daily, regardless if it's holidays or not, to make sure you're on track. And yesterday I had kind of a small dinner. I'm just gonna have this nice coffee here. Yeah, so after enjoying this very nice cup of coffee, I'm not gonna eat anything actually until I cook that meal and eat. So I'm doing intermittent fasting now because I know I'm gonna eat a lot today, a lot of calories. So I wanna make sure I have room for that, so to speak. So basically, yesterday I had my last meal around 6 p.m. and now it's 6 a.m. and I'm gonna go out and get this cardio in. So I'm gonna go running and then cook. So it's gonna be quite late lunch and then I might eat later, but then at least I can eat a bit more in those two meals. So that's basically a very good tip that I have. Intermittent fasting on holidays, small dinner the day before, weigh yourself so you keep track, because actually most people add most of their weight actually during holidays and then you don't lose it. So you just make sure what's your baseline before the holidays, what is it after, can you get back? Then you can eat whatever you want in that frame, and intermittent fasting I think helps in exercise. So okay, so just get back from that run. Actually it's the longest run according to Strava that I've done so far, almost 15 kilometers, 14.8. 5 minutes 48 minutes per kilometer, 126. So that's the longest in a long time. Unfortunately, there's a lot of roads and stuff so you get stopped along the way, but really energizing. So now I'm definitely ready to go to Ikea, check it out, and then get that food cooking. But this reminds me of how nice it feels to actually go for a long run. I'm definitely gonna continue this. So if your goals for next year is to lose weight, I think incorporating cardio, even if it's running or walking, could be a great tip. But enough of that, let's move on. Okay, so now we're here at Ikea. Almost feels like being home here, despite being in China. So I'm gonna go and see what they have here in terms of Christmas food. Unfortunately, they don't have herring, but I bought that from another place, a Danish restaurant here, yesterday actually. So I'm gonna see what else I can get here to put together a small kind of Christmas table. Definitely not gonna be everything that I would want, but better than nothing. So let's check it out. It's a lot of interesting stuff here actually, like this glühwein and kind of like cookies, but I'm gonna stay with the healthy stuff, try to get some meatballs. Let's see what we can find. Here we find some Swedish meatballs, mission accomplished. Let's move on, see what more they have. They actually sell a lot of good cheap salmon here, but I already got some dill and nice salmon in another place, so I'm gonna skip that for now. But here actually can find it really good price. Yeah, so I didn't manage to get everything I wanted, but at least I got the meatballs. I didn't get the sausages, but I was kind of maybe a bit lucky, because actually while I was in there I got invited to dinner later, so I'm gonna keep this meal rather small. So it's gonna be basically potatoes, herrings and meatballs, but that's kind of the core thing. I'm also gonna skip the sauce, and they didn't have the lingonberry jam, so well, it's gonna be better than nothing. So I'm gonna make that prepared now and let's enjoy it. Okay, so finally we're in the kitchen and I'm gonna start up with the meatballs and then boil some of the potatoes here. It's gonna take a little bit of time. Then I'm gonna have the sour cream that I got here, and of course the herring, which unfortunately didn't sell in Ikea, but I got a Danish guy who prepared it, so it's gonna be very nice. And I'm gonna have a little bit of chives. You're actually supposed to have something else, but you don't have it here, so you can't find everything. Then I have some salmon, so it's not going to be the complete thing. Actually, last year I did a video in Hong Kong, gonna show some clips here maybe, actually even with some nice drone footage, but you don't have everything here, so you gotta do what you can with what you have. So I'm just gonna sip a bit on this coffee, start boiling the potatoes, and let's get going. So the water is starting to boil. I'm gonna throw in some of the potatoes, and actually potatoes have a bad rep, but actually they're very filling. I think on an index of how full you feel in compared to the calories you get, it's actually the highest. So it's like 60 calories or something per 100 grams. I'm not gonna eat so many now, even though I really like it, because I'm gonna meet up some other people in like 3 hours. So saving a bit of room for that. So that's another tip I have also, make sure that you keep your portions, on top of your mind, so you don't go crazy, especially if you have many more meals later in the day. So the potatoes are very filling and very nice, so I really enjoy them. So that's a staple dish. Then we're gonna move on to the meatballs. Small correction there on my side, it's 77 calories per 100 grams, but almost right. So Google is your friend. Check how many calories things have before you do them. So on the topic of calories and portion control, you can actually check, on the back side of a lot of things, labels here, how many calories you have. So energy, you have 804 kilojoules. You got to convert it to kilocalories. So that's 192 actually for 100 grams, composed of 16 grams of protein, 12 grams of fat, and 6 grams of carbs. So if you do that, you know, you eat roughly 100 grams, you get roughly 200 calories. So, you know, don't go crazy on those portions, especially with things like this that has a lot of fat. It's like this fat has more calories, but you know, of course, it's up to you if you care about that or not. But if you want to keep your weight, so to speak, that could be a good thing to start thinking about, you know, plan out the meal, especially if you're not going to eat a lot more later, like I have another meal later in the day. So just some tips. Let's continue cooking. So yeah, quite few meatballs here, but as mentioned, I'm gonna eat in like 3 hours. So this is kind of a small snack. And also, you know, butter also has a bad rep, but it's actually, you know, not too bad. It's all about how much you eat. So here's like 5 grams. That's like basically pure fat. It's like 700 calories something for 100 gram. So 10 grams, 70, half of that is like 35. So 35, and then some meatballs, 130 gram. Maybe there's like 250 calories here. Actually quite a lot compared to like a big salad, but anyhow, as long as you know what you're doing, no problem. Let's add in the potatoes. So in some countries they boil the potatoes, but in Sweden we like to fry them, or at least I like to do it. But just gonna make sure you don't get them burned. So not too high heat, and just make sure they're evenly fried like this. We'll wait for the potatoes. Yeah, so while those are simmering in the background, I'm gonna prepare this. This is actually leek, I think it's called. You're supposed to have chives, like the really small ones. Kind of taste a little bit similar, but yeah, I'm gonna do this. Cut this open, and then you put that actually on top of the sour cream that you eat together with the herring and the potatoes. Really nice. You're also supposed to have dill inside the potatoes, but unfortunately couldn't find that, so you know, could be worse. Okay, so I hear that the meatballs are getting ready, so I'm gonna plate up a bit of the salmon here. It's 100 gram. I'm not gonna go for everything. It's kind of a lot of fat, and also you have normally sauce. I can put some clips in the background of that. I'm not gonna have that today, maybe later today, but I had it last year. And then I'm gonna put in the herring. But of course, you know, you have to be careful, because actually a lot of this stuff has maybe sugar and fat in it. You know, fish is good, it's healthy for you, but it can also be quite a lot of calories without so much volume. So, you know, if that's something you care about, think about that. Wow, that is looking amazing. Look at the herring. Ooh, let's put it on the plate. So we got the salmon and the herring. Now let's add the sour cream. And we're gonna sprinkle with some of these leek on top. Next up, put in the meatballs and the potatoes, and we're ready to go. Now look at that. We are definitely ready to enjoy this meal. Let's sit down and try it out. Okay, so finally it's time to dig in, and I have a knife and a fork, which is a bit unusual, but I'm gonna really enjoy this. You know, herring and salmon. You can't find everything here, but at least it's fun. You can find some of the things, and you know, potatoes and meatballs are really good. Of course, the best is if you can actually do it themselves, but you know, can't do everything, can you? So I'm gonna try it out and let you know what you think. So I'm gonna start here with the meatballs. Nice and crispy. And of course, if you want, you can add kind of ketchup or something. It's not really traditional, but you know, everyone has their kind of own preferences. Really crunchy. I actually really prefer my meatballs crunchy, not like soft, but kind of depends on culture you come from. Here, if you do hot pot and so on, they're normally softer. But let's try. The herring is actually it's soft, but it's also a little bit harder than normally. I normally you do kind of Baltic herring, and then it's a little bit soft and kind of slimy, which a lot of people don't like. I'm a fan of it, but it's kind of an acquired taste, I think. So you put it together with the sour cream, and then you have a potato here. And actually in Sweden you have a lot of different flavors of the herring, which, you know, can be very modern, like curry or, you know, chili or something, but the traditional ones are kind of here with onion, which I really like. So you take the herring, you take the sour cream, you take the onion, and then you enjoy it. Wow, that is amazing. Definitely my favorite. You know, I normally don't get past the cold food when I make Christmas food. You start with the cold food like herring and salmon and so on, and then you kind of move on to the warmer things like meatballs. So actually you don't mix it like this, but I kind of get stuck on that first phase forever. But of course, some people that don't like fish, they just go straight to the meatballs and ham, and when they're sort of done eating, I haven't even gotten to that part yet, but kind of depends on your preferences. I'm just weird, but yeah, really nice. I'm just gonna have one more here, and I go for the salmon. Really nice. And as I mentioned before, you actually normally have some other sauces like hovmästarsås and other things. You can actually buy kind of similar in Ikea, but I skipped today. I don't want to buy like a whole jar just for me, but salmon is always nice. Especially when you get this kind of dill. So you can actually buy them frozen, just let them thaw in the refrigerator. That's what I did. But they're kind of smoked, very barely sort of processed, not too much flavor. You eat them almost like kind of like raw in a sense. Very nice. Yeah. So I'm gonna wrap this up here. It's also a bit fun kind of looking back and plan for the next year. You know, where am I going to be next year? Hopefully in Sweden with, you know, friends and family, but who knows? But at the same time, it's kind of motivation to keep on working, right? So I just checked, you know, on my YouTube. I had 219 followers right now. So, you know, who knows where I will be in a year? You know, what's your plan for next Christmas? 1 year, 52 weeks. You can do a lot of things. So maybe I can get to 1,000 followers and get more people to try weird Swedish Christmas food. Who knows? Let me know what your goals are. If you like it, give me a like, subscribe, and see you in the next video.